Soldiers are often associated with images of tactical gear, sniper rifles, and hand-to-hand combat. But if you've visited the Vatican, the world's smallest country and home to the Pope, you've likely seen a group of guards dressed in the most outlandish uniforms imaginable. These are the Swiss Guard, the elite protectors of the Pope. What exactly is the story behind these Swiss men in clown-like attire guarding the head of the Catholic Church? It's a fascinating tale that spans centuries. If you're new to the channel, don't forget to like and subscribe so you never miss an update on global trends that shape our future. The Swiss Guard is one of the most unique and intriguing military forces in the world. Established over 500 years ago, this small army of just 135 members makes up a staggering 16% of the total population of Vatican City. This fact alone suggests that the Vatican may very well be the most militarized country on the planet. So why did the Pope turn to Switzerland for his personal protection? A few centuries ago, the Swiss were renowned for their ruthless and efficient warriors. Swiss mercenaries were in high demand, often recruited to bolster the armies of European nations. It wasn't just their combat skills that made them so sought after, but also their unparalleled bravery and unwavering loyalty, qualities that made them ideal bodyguards for powerful leaders like the Pope. In the early 1500s, the exceptional reputation of Swiss mercenaries caught the eye of Pope Julius II, a rather influential pontiff. Julius II was responsible for establishing the Vatican museums, overseeing the expansion of St. Peter's Basilica, into the largest church in the world, and commissioning Michelangelo to paint the Sistine Chapel's iconic ceiling. As a man of such status and influence, Julius II had accumulated his fair share of enemies, prompting him to request 200 of Switzerland's finest warriors to form his personal guard in 1505. These Swiss soldiers made the long journey to central Italy and have remained in the service of the Vatican ever since. But their distinctive uniforms, which appear to have been designed by a child on acid, beg the question: why do they look so outlandish? The vibrant colour scheme was actually chosen to reflect the house colours of two prominent Italian noble families, the Della Rovere and the Medici, both of which had provided the Catholic Church with several popes over the years. While the archaic elements of the uniform may seem comical to modern eyes, these details were quite standard during the Renaissance era when the uniforms were first worn. Despite their eccentric appearance, the Swiss Guard are far from a mere ceremonial force. Beneath those colourful costumes lies a highly trained and elite corps of soldiers. While their ceremonial duties involve parading in those iconic uniforms to impress tourists, the Swiss Guard also undertake more traditional soldiering and protection tasks, equipped with modern firearms and tactical gear. In fact, the Swiss Guard have had numerous opportunities over the centuries to demonstrate their formidable skills in battle. Their most famous engagement occurred just a few decades after the Guard's founding in 1527, when 20,000 soldiers belonging to Holy Roman Emperor Charles V sacked the city of Rome, looting and pillaging as they went. As the invading forces swept through the city, the outnumbered Roman garrison of around 5,000 men were fortunate to have 189 elite Swiss guardsmen at their disposal. In the ensuing clash, known as the Stand of the Swiss Guard, 147 of these guardsmen heroically held their ground against the thousands of attackers, fighting to the last man to buy time for the Pope to escape to safety. While all 147 Swiss guards perished that day, their sacrifice was not in vain. The remaining 42 guardsmen successfully led Pope Clement VII to an 800-metre secret passageway, allowing the pontiff to reach the safety of Castel Sant'Angelo. Clement VII would go on to remain Pope for another 7 years. The unwavering bravery and loyalty displayed by the Swiss Guard during this desperate stand have cemented their place in history as legendary protectors of the Pope. But the requirements to join this elite corps are incredibly stringent, ruling out the vast majority of applicants. Prospective Swiss Guards must not only be Swiss citizens, but they must also have completed basic training with the Swiss Army, be male between the ages of 19 and 30, stand at least 174 centimeters tall, and be unmarried Catholics. Even if you manage to tick all those boxes, the financial rewards are somewhat lacking, with a monthly salary of just 1,300 euros, about 400 euros below the national average in Italy. However, the Swiss Guard isn't just about the money or earthly rewards. It's a calling steeped in centuries of tradition, honor, and the chance to be part of something greater than oneself. These men are the elite guardians of the most powerful religious leader in the world, the Pope, and they wear their colorful uniforms with unwavering pride. So the next time you see those Swiss Guards standing tall in their outlandish regalia, resist the urge to chuckle. Instead, reflect on the rich history, unwavering bravery, and steadfast loyalty that their presence represents. A legacy that has endured for over 500 years and continues to this day. Men of the stature of Pope Julius II inevitably earned themselves a few enemies on their rise to the top, and in 1505 he asked Switzerland if they wouldn't mind lending him 200 of their finest mercenaries to form his personal guard. Soon enough, the men were on their way, and they've been there pretty much ever since. As for why they wear uniforms that look like they were designed by a 5-year-old on acid, the reason is actually pretty simple. The bright colour scheme was chosen to reflect the house colours of two of Italy's most important noble families at the time, the Della Rovere and the Medici, both of whom had supplied the Catholic Church with several popes over the years. And while the various archaic elements of the uniforms may look pretty ridiculous to the modern eye, it was fairly standard stuff during the Renaissance when they were first worn. I'm no Tom Ford, but I think it's safe to say 500 years is enough to make even the most conservative of fashion choices look a little outdated. The Swiss Guard uniform holds the distinction of being the heaviest military uniform currently in use, weighing in at over 3.5 kilograms. It's so eye-catching that Swiss Guards stationed near roads aren't allowed to wear them for fear of distracting motorists and causing traffic accidents. Each uniform is made up of 154 individual pieces, and every set is tailor-made for the soldier who wears it, a process that takes around 32 hours across 3 individual fittings. The weapons of the Swiss Guard are similarly old school, mostly consisting of halberds and a variety of swords. You may have heard that Michelangelo was responsible for the uniform's original design, but that's a myth spread in part by American author Dan Brown. Although, coincidentally, parts of the modern version of the uniform, which was redesigned in 1914, were based on frescoes painted by Michelangelo's Renaissance rival and fellow Ninja Turtle, Raphael. By now, you might be thinking the Swiss Guard, with their silly outfits and medieval weapons, are a bit of a joke, a mock military force that's more for show than anything else. But before you have any ideas about getting some mates together to initiate a hostile takeover of Vatican City and declare yourself Pope, I should point out that underneath the mental uniforms, Swiss Guardsmen are actually elite soldiers who undergo rigorous special training. The uniforms I've been talking about so far are only used for ceremonial purposes and to impress the tourists. When the Swiss Guard are engaged in more traditional soldiering and other protection duties, they wear modern uniforms and swap the medieval weaponry for high-tech firearms and pepper spray. In short, you really don't want to mess with them. Over the centuries, the Swiss Guard have had a fair few chances to demonstrate just how tough they are, but probably their most famous military engagement came just a couple of decades after they were founded. In 1527, 20,000 soldiers belonging to Holy Roman Emperor Charles V stormed the city of Rome, looting and pillaging as they went. Charles V was a member of the House of Habsburg, by the way. Long-term viewers of the channel will be pleased to hear he did indeed have a truly gargantuan chin. It's worth mentioning that while the rampaging soldiers were part of Charles V's army, they weren't actually sacking Rome on his orders. The men had gone rogue after payment of their salaries was delayed. Union disputes have gotten a lot less dramatic in the past 500 years, haven't they? Anyway, Rome's garrison numbered around 5,000 men at the time, meaning the city's defenders were outnumbered 4-1. Luckily, they had an ace up their collective sleeve: 189 elite Swiss guardsmen. As Charles V's soldiers swept through the city, slaughtering and stealing left, right, and centre, the Swiss Guard prepared to defend the Supreme Pontiff, Clement VII. The resulting battle has since become known as the Stand of the Swiss Guard. Of the 189 guardsmen in the Pope's employ at the time, 147 held first the Teutonic Cemetery and then the Steps of St. Peter's Basilica against thousands of attackers. They signed up for the Swiss Guard knowing they might have to give their lives to protect the Pope, and that time had come. Sure enough, by the end of the day, all 147 guardsmen were dead. But that didn't mean the stand of the Swiss Guard had ended in failure. You see, the men had known full well there was no chance of victory. There were simply too many enemies, and sheer weight of numbers would eventually tell. But the guards weren't fighting to win. They gave their lives to buy time. While they fought to the death outside the basilica, the remaining 42 guardsmen, yes, 42, led the Pope to an 800-metre-long secret passageway known as the Passetto di Borgo that links Vatican City to the Castel Sant'Angelo. There, Clement VII successfully made his escape and remained Pope until his death 7 years later. If all of this sounds interesting to you and you're keen to join this elite band of colourfully clad badasses, I'm afraid you're out of luck, or at least you probably are. The requirements to join the Swiss Guard are incredibly strict. For starters, the name isn't just for show. You literally do have to be Swiss to join, which rules out 99.99% of the world's population right off the bat. Not that simply being Swiss is enough, of course. Not by a long shot. Those wanting to join the Swiss Guard need first to have completed basic training with the Swiss Army. They also need to be male, between the ages of 19 and 30, at least 174 centimeters tall, and unmarried. Oh, and they have to be Catholic, obviously. If you do happen to be Swiss, tall, young, unmarried, Catholic, and in possession of one standard-issue penis, then congratulations, you've won the Swiss Guard lottery. The sheer badassery of the Swiss Guard's history, like their heroic stand in 1527, is the stuff of legend. Outnumbered and outmatched, they fought to the last man to buy time for the Pope to escape, displaying unparalleled bravery and loyalty. This is the kind of heroism that has cemented their place in history. Today, the Swiss Guard continues to play a vital role in safeguarding the Vatican and the Pope, undertaking regular patrols, security checks, and emergency response. They are the keepers of a sacred trust, the guardians of a legacy that has stood the test of time. Thanks for watching till the end. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like as well as a sub so more people can see this.